it was hinted at in between the lines of what you said, that you believe, I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, I might have said it before, but that you think that the Abraham Accords were kind of a mistake to leave the Palestinians out or something like that. Do I have your opinion on that about right?
Yeah, I would say a huge mistake. Yeah, I think they were just bad. Yeah.
Can you elaborate a bit?
Um, so I feel like in the history of Israel, you have all these surrounding Arab states that just they feel very unified. It feels like nothing is ever going to get done. Under Begin, Shlomo Ben Ami called this capsule theory. I don't know if there's ever like an official term that the government used, but it was this concept that Israel could extract singular Arab states for peace and try to move things in a piecemeal manner rather than rather than trying to make peace with the entire Arab world, and that might be an easier thing to do, especially with the help of the United States. So Egypt was extricated, and then after the fall of the Soviet Union, you get Jordan, and then as U.S. kind of like interest in the region grows and Soviet interest kind of recedes, all of like these kind of Gulf states, like everybody, there's like this kind of like U.S. friendly axis of power and stuff south of Syria, Iraq, Iran that kind of grows that everybody's like pretty happy with, I think. But I think that once that had been accomplished and Israel wasn't staring down the barrel of, 10 different Arab states coming for its, neck, I think that there should have been, okay, we this worked, we did this. Now we need to figure out what we do, with our Palestinian stuff, because this is still completely open and blown wide open on the table. We haven't done anything with it. But it feels like to continue that approach of trying to extricate singular or a few nations at a time into some peace agreement, like when the Palestinian one is the huge one, like why? It feels very, again, it feels like very opportunistic. And like, what are we trying to do here? And my understanding is the impetus even for that agreement starting was to delay more annexation of like Area C stuff in the West Bank anyway. And yeah, that just seems like very like obvious the direction that's headed in. That's how I feel.
So there's really a lot that I could say to that. I'll start with the simplest objection. So
Okay.
you've spoken about when Israel was no longer staring down the barrel of different Arab states aiming their guns at it. So in fact, it's true that that coalition, that classic historical coalition of the Pan-Arabist coalition of Syria, Egypt, kind of fell apart with the Egyptian and Israeli peace agreement. But it's not true that Israel was not staring down the barrel. Israel was staring down the barrel of an increasingly nuclear Iran. It was staring down the barrel of hundreds of thousands of rockets from Hezbollah aimed at Israeli population centers and strategic facilities. And was staring down the barrel of the Shia militias in Syria and in Iraq, mainly in Iraq. It was staring down the barrel of a blockade to the Red Sea and to Israeli shipping through the Suez Canal, which is a giant deal. And Israel basically started a 6-day war over it, right? I'm talking about the Houthis, of course. And it's still staring down the barrel of Turkish you might even say imperialism today. So I wouldn't say it's true that the early threats have abated, but there are significant new threats that were definitely aiming the so-called barrel at the Israelis, and Israel was by no means not vulnerable, as we have sadly discovered on October 7th. And I think maybe you might have explored this idea before, but it could have ended way worse for Israel if Hezbollah were to join, or if the Iraqi Shia militias were to join. And this is essentially kind of what could have happened, but didn't. And so that's the first thing that I have. And I also have some more points, but I've spoken for quite a while. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.